everybody. It has been quite a while since I've put out a video. I apologize for that. I've just been taking a break from filming and editing, and I don't know. I mean, I've got stuff that I need to edit and put out, but it's just kind of been a leisurely time for me. It's been refreshing. It's definitely what I needed, and I'm ready to get back on it. So with that said, what I wanted to share with you today is a knife that I've been using since my Buffalo River trip, and I've been very pleased with it, and it's from my good friends over at Wright knives. In case you weren't aware, I am a brand ambassador for Wright knives. I just like to put that out there in the beginning so that you know that I am affiliated with them, and I do get knives from them for testing and product review, but I take a different twist on it, and I'm not real big into a brand new model coming out, me getting it from those guys and doing an unboxing and giving my impressions. I've had this knife going on for 3 months, just about 3 months, and in those 3 months I've done my due diligence to give you a critical feedback and to give you my honest opinion on it, and the things that I think it excels at and the things that I think it may not excel at, and vice versa. I try to do as best of a job as I can to give you guys an honest review as to this knife and whatnot. The knife that I'm going to show you today is a knife that I'm familiar with, but they've taken a new twist on it, and this is a large Northern Hunter. Now, I'm familiar with this knife because for quite a while I've used a companion to this blade, or what I call its little brother, the small Northern Hunter. That knife has served me very well. The blade shape is very friendly, and I primarily carry it as a neck knife. And like I mentioned earlier, I've had this knife since I went on my Buffalo River trip, and the smaller companion knife to this is what I carried around my neck as a neck knife. I think the two of those go together really well, and I would like to think that that's part of the thought process as to making the changes that they did to the large Northern Hunter, is to make this a better companion to the smaller design. So it is a Canadian belt knife pattern, which is a really old pattern. I'm going to be going over some of the kind of the history of it here soon and showing you some pictures, but really all that means is that the curves and aesthetics of it are very suited for a game knife and for field processing, kitchen kind of stuff, food processing. And the biggest reason for that is when you hold this knife and you put it on a flat edge, you've got a lot of chopping surface here. You've got a rocking motion here. Your knuckles aren't going to drag when you put it on a flat edge, and that lends itself very well for camp chores. You also have almost a center point, but enough of a belly still that if you want to get underneath things to skin with, it's right there. So let's look at this a little closer. So one big change that they've made to this version of the large Northern Hunter is they've changed it from being a full flat grind to a High Saber. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the different types of grinds, a High Saber is one that a lot of people find very useful for every task that you could ask for a belt knife or a knife that you're going to use in the woods. It excels at slicing and game processing and chopping up food, but it's also a sturdy enough edge, and it has enough meat behind it that you can also do woodworking, notching, carving, and not be afraid of it being damaged or rolled or whatnot. So this knife is an AEBL, so it pairs really well with a smaller knife like its companion, the small Northern Hunter. I like this change because if you have a dedicated dressing knife or skinning knife, game processing knife like this one is, you need something that can handle the other tasks in camp. I now have a dedicated knife that I can do any of my fire prep, any of my steak carving to stake out my tarp, so I don't have to carry those, any of that stuff. But it's still capable, if I don't bring this, of doing fine carving and fine tasks like skinning, scaling fish, all that kind of stuff, working around bones. But these two knives just, in my opinion, excel at working together. Now, I am a big Scandi knife guy. Those of you that know me, you all know that I love my Scandi knives, and my opinion hasn't changed, but I can tell you the High Saber on this blade shape and just the curves and aesthetics of this, it works really well. I think putting a Scandi on something like this wouldn't do it justice. You have a much bigger handle. It's a bigger knife, but you also have somewhat of a swell that goes towards the butt of the knife. So it really locks your hand in there very well, and it just feels good. You sometimes are walking by a table at a show and see a knife, or you're over at a buddy's house and they hand you a knife, and as soon as you pick it up, it just indexes in your hand. You don't have to try to figure out how you want to hold it. When you pull it out of the sheath, it automatically indexes in your hand. And this is one of those. It having a smaller area up here near the choil, it really locks in if you want to choke up on it and do stuff close to your face, or reverse grip it and do stuff right underneath your eyes. But it also has enough purchase in the back that if you are doing long strokes or long slices on something, it doesn't want to move in your hand. So it's just a really good design. I'm a fan of these older style knives like this, the patterns that are similar to this, like your Nesmix and your Keparts. And this is just another one that kind of came from guys using their knives, needing them, and doing chores with them on a daily basis, tromping around in the woods and using them. It's not, you know, just a weird off pattern. Like, this is a proven pattern, and for me that's exciting. So what I want to do is head out and find a good candidate for a baton that I can carve out of green wood and leave here at my camp for just splitting up kindling and any kind of stuff that I need to do, hammering stakes and stuff into the ground. And we're going to use the large Northern Hunter to carve it down, using my Baco to make some stop cuts and baton with it, and get a nice maul or baton out of the green wood that I find. So let's go find us a good candidate. So I really like this candidate that I just showed you. It's a small enough sapling that I'll have no problem cutting it with my handsaw. The base is big enough around that it'll yield a lot of good weight and heft towards the end of my maul, and then it tapers down for the handle to make it easier to carve. And then further up the tree, I've got a nice bend and a crook with a Y that will make a nice bow. So that's two things I can get out of it. And then some of the limbs will also be nice for little pot hangers, or even just practicing notches and stuff. So it's in an area that is a little bit away from my camp, so I'm not cutting down any potential shade trees. And there's at least 4 trees around it that are already twice its size that are going to be choking out the sunlight. So this has the potential to be deadfall anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and take it back to camp. So something I also like to do is go ahead and trim it down. A lot of the green and stuff in the smaller branches that I'm not going to be able to use anything for, I trim them so it's easier to take it through the woods. It doesn't get snagged on everything. And I also kind of pile it up to make somewhat of a little natural hide or potential cover for a small prey or something, just to kind of give back, I guess. I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and measure this out. Have a decent size head on it, and then let's say our handle can start about right here. I won't have to take too much off for that to fit in my hand comfortably. So we're going to cut it about right here. Well, I jumped the gun a little bit and forgot to show you a step to do before go ahead and trimming it off. So you got to think ahead kind of, and I wasn't doing that. So if I go ahead and cut this off, I now have this short section to try to cut my stop notch with. So instead of doing that, I might as well go ahead and measure where I want the head to stop and make a stop cut here. That way, when I cut it to length, that's already here and we're good to go. I'm gonna roll it a little bit. If you're confused, it'll make sense in a little bit. Now we're good to cut the handle. All right, now we can get a little cozy, sit down, and get to working on this. So really, it's not a hard task to do, but this is really dense wood. This is really hard wood, but it's green wood. So that's gonna help us, but all you wanna do is kind of figure out how big of a maul that you wanna make. Like I said, I wanted something that I can hammer stakes into the ground. This area that I'm in, it's pretty rocky. The soil is really hard. So I wanted something a little bit longer to get some leverage with a little bit more weight. And this tree was just a perfect candidate. So I cut a smaller section off to just help split this with, and then in turn I can turn this into another tool if I want to. But for right now, we're going to work on splitting this handle down and kind of shaping this up and making it look nicer. So we got the baton finished. I'm very pleased with this. It's going to be a great addition to here around camp. It's something I've been needing to do for a while, and I've just been putting it off. Is it absolutely perfect? No, but this is just going to aid me in other things, and that's really the kind of the point that I wanted to drive home with this large northern hunter. Is was it absolutely perfect in carving this baton? No, it wasn't. It's not a Scandi knife, and we all know how Scandi and wood love each other. But it got the job done. It made enough cuts and was able to do enough small detailed stuff to clean up here around the end and give me a nice spot to here to hold, to choke up on if I really need to nail some stakes into the ground. And the edge is still fine. I bet it still shaves. It's always hard to see this on camera, but there is hairs on my arm right now. So that's a testament to just tools doing what they're supposed to do. This knife could easily skin game, and I could easily put this in the kitchen and show you how well it chops veggies. You can tell by the curves of it and the way it looks that it would be well suited for that. But I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to show you that this is capable of doing woodworking and helping you recreate other tools. And that's ultimately all that we can ask for from the things that we bring into the woods, is what kind of things can it do for us and how can it aid us to make life easier in the woods. So this is a really awesome design. It has its pros, like I said, with it being perfect for any kind of processing, any kind of food prep, game processing, skinning, but as you saw, it's just as capable of getting through this hard oak and helping you make a baton. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the large northern hunter. I will put links in the description down below as to where you can find this, and just some more information if you're interested in it. If this is a knife that you're looking for, this kind of shape and design, it'll serve you well, man. This AEBL steel is no joke. So hope you guys have a good day. Remember, get outside and enjoy the woods. Thanks for watching.